Hello, everyone. It's Bradford Speaks, host of the Everything Matters podcast, and welcome to episode number 6. My special guest today is Matt Rucker, also known in the YouTube and crypto worlds as Hustle Man Matt. I met Matt about 3 years ago, and he's been such a great friend of mine, has introduced me to multiple income-producing projects. Many of them are passive income-based projects. So you want to hear what Matt has to share today. I'm excited to have him on the show. Please help me welcome Matt Rucker to the Everything Matters podcast. Let's get it popping. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Everything Matters podcast. I've got super special guest here with me today, Mr. Matt Rucker is on the line. Matt, welcome to the Everything Matters show, man. How you doing today, brother?
What's happening, Brad, man? Thanks for having me, man. I feel honored to be on the podcast, man. Excited to see the replay already.
I love it, bro. I love it. I meant to get you to come over here and help me do some of this editing because I know you've been doing some of that stuff. So.
I'll show you a few pointers too.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So, hey, I just want to talk about, some of the things you've been up to, man. And first of all, I got to tell the story about how you and I met. First of all, it's really unique. I think it's funny. It's weird and odd. And we've known each other for a few years now. And I was moving back in 19, I think it was. And you were actually working for the moving company that moved me as a mover, right?
That's right. And right. That was a side gig I was doing.
Right.
Just kind of fell into it. Never moved anything in my life.
Right.
but jumped into that, and you were actually one of the first homes that I helped move.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And you and I just really hit it off. We connected really well and exchanged phone numbers. And, It's been a friendship ever since, man. So I'm grateful to have you on here. You're doing some great things out in the community and really making a difference in a lot of people's lives, man. So I'm grateful for you. And I'm one of those people you made a difference in their life. So thank you for that, man.
Yeah, for sure. It is a little weird, huh? You kind of get cool with the guy that comes over to your house and moves your furniture.
Right.
Huh?
and my wife likes you, which is you're in a good spot.
Look, I'm in with the wife, so that's definitely a good thing.
You definitely good, brother.
I think what happened, we couldn't get everything in on the truck or something.
Yeah.
And I had and we needed to come back and get something, but I had my own truck.
That's right.
So I was like, yeah, I'll come back and help you out.
that was the hook right there, bro, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know many cats that would have done that, man. So I really appreciate you stepping up and saying, hey, bro, I got you. I got a pickup truck. I'll come back, I'll pick up that last piece. You didn't have to do that, man.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I appreciate that. Awesome. All right. So Matt, man, back in 2020, the world went through something that was pretty extraordinary, right? And it was completely unexpected. And everybody had to make all kinds of adjustments for themselves and their businesses and whatever it is they were up to. It was they were up to, had to do something different, right? And so I know that presented some challenges for you. You're someone that I've known again for 3.5 years or so, and you've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always admired that about you. So being an entrepreneur as the pandemic was kicking off back in 2020, man, what kind of adjustments did you have to make to keep yourself busy, to keep your business going, and to keep the income coming in, man?
Man, so that was a really big wake up call for me because I realized that I wasn't as stable as I thought I was.
Yeah.
So we just talked about how I was doing a gig with the moving company, but around that time I was growing a fitness brand. And it was it was okay. I was learning as a personal trainer, but also learning how to operate my own business and moving locations. And so I had just moved to a different training location, and I was trying to start over with my client roster when the pandemic hit. And man, I was like, wow, the gym's closed down for a few months.
Right.
So that was really challenging. And, I was always doing, some things on the side to kind of make ends meet. But, with the gym shutting down, and things being deemed essential and non-essential. It was really challenging there for a minute. So it was like a month and a half or so. I was just sitting at the house trying to figure out what to do.
Right.
I actually called another buddy of mine who had just started a business in the trucking industry.
Mm.
And so I was just like, hey, man, look, if you need any help on the truck or
Right.
anything, give me a shout.
Right.
Give me a shout. I just need to make some money right now. So that was kind of a wake up call for me, just to let me know, like, hey, man, you're not as stable as you thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a little uncomfortable. And so that kind of motivated me to, better my situation.
Right.
Try not to get caught in that situation again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that was a challenge. That was kind of a kick in the butt, but as well, the pandemic, turned out to be a blessing for me as well. I think it did for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I did have a business and I was doing some of these, gigs, so to speak. I was 1099.
Right.
So typically for someone who's 1099 or somebody who is self-employed, if they're not working or if their contract expires, that's it.
Facts.
They don't qualify for any unemployment or assistance or anything like that. But because of the time and we got some assistance from the government where you could qualify for unemployment because of the pandemic. And I didn't even know about it, man. I didn't even know about it at first. I actually was catching. I was man. Okay, so I was I had another gig. I was going to be moving apartments, and I was like, the place I was going to be staying at was going to be more expensive. So I was like, man, I need to find something to make a little extra money, right?
Right.
So I had a truck. I had a pickup truck. So I found this gig where I was going around at apartment complexes, and I would pick up the trash for the tenants. They leave the trash out.
Got that.
And
Yeah.
I would come around, collect the trash at night, and toss it in the dumpster.
Wow.
Right. So literally picking up trash, throwing it in my vehicle, man.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense now why your nickname is Hustle Man. Right.
Yeah.
You goes and gets it,
because I'll hustle if I need to, for sure.
No, that's right.
But I was the area, the apartment that I was servicing was close by to another buddy of mine.
Okay.
So I gave him a call, like, hey man, I'm in your area. Are you still on this side of town? And we just started chatting, and he kind of has his own little business. He was like, yo, I got this money. He was like, you can get it too. I was like, what you mean? He showed me, he told me the steps on how to do it. So I applied for it, went on, to the Department of I can't think of it right now. Department of Labor. Yeah, Department of Labor.
Yep.
And filled out the application. Within a few weeks, I got a lump sum of money. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So, I used that. I wanted to always find, once I got this money, okay, what can I do to double this money, or what can I do to make this money work for myself, or what is the next step? And man, I blew through the money. Blew through the money.
Hey, you and millions of other people around the country blew through that money, man.
Man, I blew through it.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't used to having that sort of, a lump sum, at one time like that. So they just kind of went crazy with it, right? It happens.
Yeah, and it was all about timing as well.
No doubt.
Man, I blew through those funds, and before I know it, I'm like, man, what did I do with this money? And I'm like, how did I allow myself to, blow through it like that, right?
It's like getting in credit card debt, dude. I mean, it happens the same way, right? It's like you get this credit card, it's like, okay, and especially if you do it more than once, and you get yourself pent up, and you finally get a chance to pay it all off, and it's like, you know what, man, I ain't never doing that again. I don't ever want to be in that situation again. 2 years later, you get that credit card again, and he's like, how did I let the credit card get over $5,000 again? So kind of the same sort of deal, right? Very similar.
Yeah, it was very much like that. But as I mentioned, it was kind of timing as well, because they extended the program. So the program expired. They extended it, and then through that time period in between, a lot of opportunities were starting to develop for me.
Okay.
That I was into.
Got it.
And I said, okay, now this time
I'm gonna do it right.
I know exactly for sure.
No doubt. I'm doing it
if
right.
I get this money, what I'm going to do.
Yes,
so
yes,
that was kind of the blessing for me. Getting some of that extra capital to be able to find new opportunities.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I know a little bit about those opportunities, and I'm excited to hear about those and have you share with people what you've been up to. So one of the things I know that you have been doing, because I'm a part of your community, is that you built a community built around cryptocurrency called Hustle and Crypto Community. And you also, in doing that, started a YouTube channel, which is one of the ways that you're actually sharing what it is you're up to. First of all, first question is, how did you get into cryptocurrency?
So that's kind of alluding to what we just talked about, looking for different opportunities. It was actually this, some people might call it like I don't know, like a scam or something like that. But I was into this thing. They call them blessing looms.
I've heard about, I remember I did a couple of those. I lost some money in those for sure.
Yeah, it was.
I made some money too, but I lost. Yeah.
It was something, a lot of people were doing. It was popular on Telegram, and like you're familiar, but you put some funds in, and you wait your turn to come around, you get some money back, and I didn't know about it. Somebody invited me to it. I did make some money really quick. I thought it was the best thing ever, and I wanted to do it again, and it never worked out for me that way.
Always that way, man.
And so that's kind of how it started, and it was a similar concept, but it was done a little bit differently, and it was through cryptocurrency. And so I got into it, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty interesting, right? And the steps in getting involved with it came simple to me, but when I was telling other people about it and they were interested in trying it out, the steps weren't quite as easy for them.
Right.
And so, I found myself, explaining it to them and helping them get started. And then, they might be excited about it. And then they, tell somebody, and they calling me like, hey, Matt, can you help my person get started?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but for whatever reason, I just kind of found myself into like a leadership role in that regard, where people were looking to me for insight on how to get started with it.
Right.
And so that was my first introduction into crypto.
Got it.
With that particular project, as I got more deeper into it, as I started to learn more, I realized it was kind of the same thing that with the Susu, and I didn't really like that. So I started to look for other opportunities.
Right.
So I kind of became, what's the word? Almost like obsessive, just looking for different, opportunities and trying to learn more, and really just wanting to build, this community from the start. I realized, I said, hey, if I could learn something, and if I could, kind of test something out first, kind of, test the food, make sure it's not poisonous before everybody else eats it.
Right.
Then, there's power in numbers, and I can share that with other people, and we can all kind of grow together. So that was my mindset from the beginning. And that was my introduction to it. And now over time, things have developed, and, better opportunities have come to fruition.
Right.
And I've been able to kind of navigate that and share it with my community.
That's awesome, man. And I'm happy to say that I'm a part of that community. So thank you for sharing it with me, man. I really appreciate that. All right. So let's talk about this YouTube channel real quick. So one of the ways that you've been sharing this is through the community that you built, and also through a YouTube channel. Now, a lot of people are terrified about starting a YouTube channel. They're like, they don't want to be in front of the camera. I got another buddy of mine. It's like, I just want my voice on, man. I don't want to have my face. I just want to put a video or a picture up there. I'll talk, but I don't want to be seen. Right.
Right.
What was it like for you, and what challenges did you come across when you were looking at starting a YouTube channel to help your work go viral?
So I had a lot of those same fears or just apprehensions. I was uncomfortable being on camera. I felt like I didn't know how to edit videos. A lot of these YouTube videos have these cool looking thumbnails with the graphics. I'm like, I'm not a graphic designer.
Right.
I'm like, man, this is a lot. This is a lot. But it was more so I just saw the opportunity, that a lot of people, the people that I'm watching and learning from, I'm like, I'm leaving too much on the table by not doing it, by not trying, just by giving it a shot. So that was one thing, just kind of getting out of my own way and just giving it a shot. And also something that I did, and I recommend to other people, was I made investments to learn. So there were certain courses and things that I bought from other people who I saw that were successful. I liked maybe their style or what they were doing, and I was able to put together and find different softwares that made it easier for me. So it gave me an easier point of entry, and I was able to get comfortable with those certain programs. And now I'm like, oh, this is all it takes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's simple. Now it didn't seem like such a big task.
Right. You're able to break it down
once
in like
I got
micro chunks, kind of, right? Small chunks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then once I got familiar with it and start doing it more often, more repetition, with anything, you're going to get better. And so it's developed. And I also, another big thing was I enjoyed talking about, the topic with cryptocurrency. So that's a topic that I enjoyed talking about. And so that also made it easier to, start a channel around that.
No doubt. It sounds like what you're saying, Matt, is, number one, use the resources that you have available to you, right? Don't remake the wheel if you don't have to. If someone's already put together a framework for what you want to do, utilize the resources. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself, right? Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. I mean, sometimes it might cost you a few $100s, right? And that's okay to get that course so you can get the edge that you need to get started. And number three, you got to face your fears. If you don't do it, like nobody's going to do it for you, right? So you got to get out there and just take that risk. So, man, I appreciate you for that. It really makes a difference. All right. Now, Matt, one of the things that I thought was very interesting about you when I first met you, because as we were getting to know each other, I would ask you, so where'd you go to school, man? Like, what have you been up to? And, what have you been doing for the last 10, 15 years or whatever since you got out of school? And one of the things you told me that you used to be a rapper. And I was like, come on, man, rapper, like for real, come on, bro. He was like, nah, man, I used to be a rapper. I said, what was your stage name? And you told me your stage, let's see, it was Big Greedy. Bro,
Big Greedy.
Tell the people about Big Greedy, man. We got to share who Big Greedy is. How'd you get into rap music? It's easy for any kid to get into rap music, right? Everybody wants to be a rapper, right?
Right. That's actually a really good. It's a really good story as well, man. So before it was Hustle Man Matt, it was Big Greedy.
Got it.
So I still got some friends.
Maybe Big Greedy ate. Maybe Big Greedy ate Hustle Man, or maybe it's the other way around.
So the way that I got into it, I actually had a buddy of mine that I played football with in college, and we used to kind of mess around in college. We'd be in a room kind of freestyling, right? And we just be in and freestyling. And my buddy, he was actually really good. Like he was really good. I'm like, dude, you are good, man. And he's like, I got a whole notebook full of that stuff in my room. I'm like, get out of here. So he runs out of my dorm room, goes down to his room, and he has composition notebooks, pages of stuff that he wrote. And I'm like, yo, dude, you are nice. And he had a brother who was a little younger than us, and his brother was a producer.
Okay.
They're from a small town in getting close towards South Carolina and Georgia called Commerce.
Okay, I heard of Commerce.
A little country town. Yeah. So that's where they were from. And fast forward, it came a point where his brother was producing the music, and it was like a particular beat or whatever that I thought was cool. I was like, my buddy would sound good on it, right? I'm like, hey man, if I get this little beat for you, would you rap on it? And he was like, yeah, for sure. And then he's like, but I can't do anything without my brother. He's the one that has all the recording equipment. Okay. And so I said, all right. So I reached out to him. We were going to kind of schedule a time to meet up, and he was like, "Hey, you want to get on the track?" And I'm like, I mean, I guess
why not, right?
I'll try it out, right? I'll try it out. And so the day that I actually we were supposed to meet, he was supposed to come up from Commerce up toward close towards the city. And that day I reached out to him. He had an older car, broke down car. He was like, "Man, my car broke down.
Right.
I can't. I'm not going to be able to make it." And I was like, "Dang." And then in the back of my head, I knew he was driving. He was driving from Commerce all the way up to Sugarloaf to work at Firehouse Subs.
Yeah.
Right. So he was just trying to get out of Commerce just to kind of network and be a little bit closer to where there's more people, so he can kind of share his music. And so he was driving back and forth, for just a job. And I'm like, man, he's not gonna be able to work.
Right.
Right. He gonna lose his job. And so I said, "Hey man, I was thinking, you could come stay with me in my spot until you save up some money to get a car." Because I was like, "I know you gotta make it to work." Right. And he was like, "For real?" I was like, yeah, for sure. And so I drove to Commerce.
Wow.
I drove to Commerce and loaded him up, and we came back, and he came to stay in my apartment, and he brought his equipment. And the kid's talented, man. He was talented. He'd make a beat in just a few minutes, just sitting there, watching him. And he was just like, "Hey, man, look." He's like, "I don't have a whole lot of money to give you, but with these beats," he's like, "I don't care if you do one track, if you do 1,000 tracks, it's on me." So I was like, all right.
That's what's up, man.
I was like, all right. So I literally had like an in-house producer.
Wow, that's nice. Can't beat that.
And so. So we start working together, and I start playing around, and it sucked at first, but I got a little better. And, at one point, I felt like I was pretty good.
Okay.
It was pretty good. I had like I would come up with a theme, and I would make like a album or mixtape around that theme, and I would have skits and everything.
Okay.
I had put on my own shows. I did a show out in Athens. But what I ended up running into was I was trying to do everything by myself. And I was like, man, I really need some help. I needed a team. I needed a manager. I needed someone to help book gigs for me, so I could just focus on creating music. And the guys, the guy who's producing the music and his brother, I saw that in them. It was more something that I saw they were more passionate about. I wanted to help them. I just kind of got into it and, doing everything myself. And I was just like, they didn't have the resources. I'm seeing that I needed more resources. And it came to a point where I was in between jobs. I ended up getting another job as a car salesman.
Got it. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So look, that was another hustle, and I started that job as a car salesman, and that really just took away my time. I stopped being as creative musically, and I just was trying to sell some cars.
I dig it.
So that's kind of why I stopped. But a lot of my friends ask, "Hey man, why don't you get back at it?" So it's actually an outlet now that I have some more time, and it's an expensive game too. You got to have some money to record and stuff like that. So it's an outlet I've been thinking about, opening back up.
Would you still stay Big Greedy, or would you come up with a new name? Like we'll revive?
I don't know.
Big Greedy out of the grave.
So I was thinking about doing something like like a crypto related type mixtape, right? So I don't know if I would do Big Greedy or if I just be Hustle Man.
Hey, Hustle Man can work, man. You make it work, Hey, and you know what? It's not as expensive as you think it is anymore. With technology. Back at the time, it may have been a lot more expensive, but right now, dude, I mean, Master P got one of the greatest stories in history of the game, right? And how he took it from basically nothing, in people's bedrooms, and until he got studio money. So also, my son
Right.
does beats. So if you need some beats, man, let me know. We got you, bro. All right, Matt. So you also shared with me earlier how there was a point in your life where you had a really big challenge, and I want to talk about, what that challenge was first of all, and how you were able to actually overcome that or conquer that or triumph in that. So talk to us about what that was.
Yeah. So I just turned 33 now. At the time, I was around 28 or so, and I was transitioning from one job to another. I was selling cars, but I was really excited about my fitness, and that was kind of like the best part of my day. So I wanted to do that as a job or a career versus selling the cars. So I was going through a transition period where I quit the car sales job, and I was trying to start with the clients, and I probably did it a little premature. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have a whole lot of clientele in place. I didn't have any processes in place. Coming from a situation that had a lot of structure, so it was challenging. Um, I was having to drive Uber
Yeah,
uh,
familiar with that.
to
Yeah.
try to make some money, and man, I it was one morning. I woke up. I trained, a couple clients, made myself a breakfast, and I headed out. I was going to try to go to the airport to pick up a fare, and there was some traffic, and I dozed off for half a second in traffic, and
Whoa.
I drifted. I drifted into a truck. There was a truck right in front of me. It had a tow hitch on the back of it, and I drifted,
Ooh.
man, less than 2-3 miles per hour. Just drifted, and when I kind of came into
Yeah.
it, I was trying to hit the brake, but it was a little too late, and I smacked into that tow hitch, and my
Wow.
airbags slapped me in the face.
Wow. Yeah, I hear those
And I
airbags. I hear those
just,
airbags don't feel good. I've never had it happen to me. Thank goodness.
yeah, that didn't feel good, but I think I was a little bit more hurt that at the time that was a brand new Infinity that I had
Wow.
leased. Yeah, and I was
Yeah, that
so I
hurts.
was like, oh my goodness. And to get to that point, there was a lot of things financially that I was just really trying to living a little bit, above my means,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Even the fact that I had that car was a blessing, just because I was in the industry and I was able to get the
Yeah.
car. But I was paying way too much money for it, and you know, when that incident happened, I knew immediately that I was like, I'm not going to be able to, be able to afford my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it was really tough for me, especially as a young man, being independent for so long. I had to come back and ask mom and dad, like, hey,
Mm.
you got a spot for me.
And fortunately,
You
they
got a spot
fortunately
for.
they did. Right.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because my dad had told me so many times, hey man, why don't you come home, save
Right.
some money, right? But then, I was like, "Hey man, I think I need to come home." He's like, "I got to ask your mama."
I got to make sure that offer's still standing. We kind of
Right?
got used to you not being here, bro. I don't know about all that.
I'm like, what? Like what? But yeah, so that was around October, maybe 2018. I want to say
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Going into the holidays,
Yeah.
I had to move. I had to get out of my apartment. I had to kind of humble myself, and that hurt. That really hurt my
Yeah.
pride for a little bit.
Dig
And
it.
shortly after, a few months later, January of that next year, my mother actually passed away.
Wow.
So she
Man.
was dealing with
Mm.
um, she was on dialysis.
Got it.
She had diabetes for as long as I could remember,
Wow.
and it got to the point she was on dialysis and ended up passing away of heart failure.
Wow. So
And
sorry to hear
so
that, man.
yeah, it was challenging.
Yeah, I understand.
It happened so fast, right?
Yeah.
And then in my head, I was realizing, I said, hey, maybe all of these things had to boil to this point
Right.
for me to humble myself to come home just to spend a little bit of time, because what I was doing with the car sales, you know, I was working 60 hours plus a week.
Yeah.
I didn't, when I came home, I'm just chilling. I didn't want to go nowhere, visit, or there was a lot of time that I missed out on that I could have, spent with family or friends and stuff of that nature. So I looked at it a little bit differently. I said, hey, maybe this was, you know, meant for me to come home to spend this time.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
As she was passing away, I, kind of promised to her that, I was going to make something of myself, that I was going to be successful. Not really knowing, through what avenue that was going to be,
Yeah.
but just, knowing that I had to, do something to, make her proud.
Right.
So that was something that, for a while that, really inspired me and motivated me to do something, to find something.
That's
And
awesome,
so, yeah, that was probably one of the, most challenging points in my life.
Got it.
Just being at the bottom, and then, losing somebody who is so, close to you.
Yeah.
But I think she's been kind of watching over me and giving me some blessings,
Of
man.
course.
And since then, things have been up.
That's awesome,
So
man. That's awesome. Well, my heart goes out to you, brother, and your family, and I'm sure that was tough for your pops too to deal with, man. So
yeah,
yeah, that's hard, man. Thanks for sharing that, bro. All right, Matt. So, one of the things that you've been able to do is create a passive income for yourself, and build your crypto brand. You're building a crypto empire. From what I can see over here on my end, it's really, really going amazing, man, to see you just soar and go where you're going with this. When you think about a lot of the young people out there, right, that are looking for direction, how do you see yourself being a positive and lasting uh, influence on kids, and what message would you have for them?
yeah. So it's really just comes down to people having their own passions and finding what it is that makes them happy, right? So I'm in the cryptocurrency space. I enjoy it, but that might not necessarily make someone else happy. But to be able to do those things, it usually requires time, and it usually requires
For
money.
sure.
And everybody has to you know work or find a way to produce an income so that they can either have more time to do what they love or have the money to do what they love.
Indeed.
So I think I'm able to step in that role and be an example to show people, hey, you can create, passive incomes for yourself, which will free up that time and money to, do what you like. So I think that's kind of where, I can step in, and maybe someone a little younger or in the younger generation can see that there are so many different opportunities and ways to make money nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm just showing one avenue, and I think that's kind of where I can make an impact there.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And mindset, right? Everything is about what you believe is possible for yourself, and you definitely are someone who has overcome some odds and been able to create something for yourself that wasn't there, right? I mean, like cryptocurrency and the way that we're seeing it right now was not there 10 years ago, not like this. And so, what's happening with
Right.
blockchain technology, and what's happening with many of these exchanges, and what you're able to do with crypto is just insane right now. And I mean, you become a master at that game, man. So I acknowledge you for that, for
And
sure. Yeah.
even the style in which we're doing it as
Right.
well is also different.
Yes.
The markets are down right now. We've got this global war kind of looming over
Right.
us. The markets are fearful, and
Yeah.
not even just the crypto market, everything.
Very true.
Inflation, prices are up, and so it's kind of really cool to look, to kind of take a step back and see what we're doing,
Yeah.
how we're generating the passive income. Is a lot different from what people are accustomed to.
Very true.
So that's pretty cool as well.
I mean, what you're right. And honestly, what really excites me is the idea about decentralized finance and really being able to step away in some way from the big banks. I mean, they're probably going to try to catch us at some point, and create some,
Right.
not catch us like we're doing anything wrong, but like, it's regulation. They're always trying to regulate everything, and decentralization. The idea of that was to take away the power of the centralized finance system from people being able to control their own financial destinies. And that's what I think
Right.
Satoshi's vision was when he created Bitcoin.
It really kind of, like you mentioned, overcoming odds and obstacles, opportunities that, really people like me and you aren't supposed to have.
Right.
It really kind of leveled the playing field.
That's right.
To give those opportunities to people. And, someone like myself, who knew nothing about cryptocurrency a couple years ago,
Right.
have been able to learn and create a passive income that is, providing for me financially. So it's really awesome, man. I really am thankful for, being privileged to the information, but also, blessed to be able to kind of comprehend and understand it as well, and being able to relay that to people.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Definitely a gift, brother. Definitely a gift. All right. So next question is really, really important. This is one that I really like asking. Love to see what people's responses are. To whom do you give, or to what do you give credit, or do you attribute your successes to, and who you become in life?
I really would have to say my parents. That was something that I, had to think about for a while. So I'm never, of course, they're, coming up as a kid, you look up to iconic people like Michael Jordan,
Right.
or some of the kids now might say Steph Curry,
Right.
or something,
For sure.
something like that. And those, you do have those influences, but when I really think about it, and I just think about my situation, and looking at my peers, and other people's situation, I really have to say that I'm blessed. My parents. I grew up with both of my parents, and they were always looking for opportunities for me and my sister to get better schooling. They always supported me through athletics, or whatever it was that I was into. I always had that support,
Right.
And that's something that if you don't know any better, you might take for granted, right? And so, I look at those things. I kind of look at, the example that they led, the kind of lives that they live.
Right.
A little boring,
Yeah. Of course, to you it would be, right? To somebody your age and my age, right. Yeah, it's boring.
A little boring, maybe a little square,
right.
But they kind of set some guidelines for me that I just think what made me, who I am today.
Yeah.
Some of that kindness and willingness to, do things and help others. Those are things that I picked up from my folks. They were always willing to, help, give the shirt off their back if, they need it. Funny, I'll say something funny. I remember playing like baseball as a kid, and, we had practice or a game. So I'm tired, man. I want to go home, right? I'm dirty,
Right.
I want to go home, and another kid, he doesn't have a ride, he's waiting, somebody left him hanging or whatever it is, and my dad's like, "Hey, you need a ride?" And I'm like, "Man, I want to go home."
Let somebody else pick him up, man.
Yeah, I want to go home. Right. That ain't our problem, you know what I'm saying? But stuff like that, something just as simple as that, just kind of showed me, and I really do feel like if you help more people, you're willing to help people, at some point they're going to have your support, right? They're going to be in your corner, right. And you never know when you might need that. You never know when you might need that support.
Very true. Great values, man. And our parents definitely deserve credit. Those parents who have provided that for their children, and whether they were able to, parents do the best they can. I got a very special place in my heart for parenting because I am a parent, and it's not easy, right? And instilling those values, and it's kind of those old school values, if you will, right? Helping people, serving other people. It's one of those things that people look over a lot, but it's really important. It's something that's really missing. I feel like in our world, being able to look at someone and being able to say, hey, you know what? I got plenty, or maybe I don't have that much, but I'm willing to part with some of it so that you can have too, right? And that is, I certainly see that in you, man. Those values shine through, and kudos to your parents for doing a great job in regards to that with you, man. All right, next question I want to ask you, Matt, is, you've been in this crypto space for a minute now, and I know that's a big part of where you generate a lot of your income from, not having to go to a job every day, right? So with that, if you've got several projects that are going on right now, in addition to the Hustle and Crypto community, the YouTube channel that you're building, you also are working on developing your own NFT project with a couple other business partners that you're working with. What advice would you give someone who's interested or curious about getting into the crypto space? What kind of entry point would they look for? Where would they go? How could they get started?
Right. That's actually that's a great question, man. First, I would just have people be open minded. Tell them to be open minded and understand that a lot of it might not make sense to you, at first, but just keep an open mind and take the time to learn. Oftentimes, somebody will just be I'll tell them the information or give them the information. They say, "Man, can you just do it for me?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you just run it for me?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Not really." It's kind of one of those things where you don't want somebody else to run it for you. You want to do it for yourself. So just being open minded, first off, and be willing to learn. That's a big thing.
I got it.
The next from there would be YouTube University.
Right.
YouTube University. That's how I started. That's how I learned. And so I just kind of threw myself in, and if I heard something that didn't make sense to me, I might search that topic and try to learn a little bit more, or
Right.
Google it. We got so much resources to us just through YouTube and Google. All right, there's so much information.
So true.
So those are great starting points. Those are great starting points. And then of course I've developed a community. Hustleandcrypto.com is a website that I created where basically it is a news feed. One aspect of it is a news feed. So some of the YouTube creators that I enjoy watching, they pop up on my news feed. So that's a resource that people can go and look and start watching some videos and kind of get accustomed to it. And then as well, joining my private community, which you can actually do through the website, is joining my private community. Right now it's free access. I don't know how long I'm going to do it, if I might want to, monetize that. But right now I've just been really focusing on growing it and just helping people. So it's free access to that community, and inside I kind of shortcut a lot of the pitfalls that I may have gone through, and kind of vetting different projects that I've seen to be successful. So leveraging those opportunities, the free information that you have, that's big. And then sometimes you got to pay for some information if you can't find, what you're looking for, and if it's a gap in between. Sometimes you got to pay for that information to fill that void. And so, not being afraid to invest in yourself, that's what I call investing in yourself. So you can get that information to be able to, put the pieces together. So that's what I would, recommend for somebody who's just starting off. Of course, Google and YouTube are free, right? Try to pick up as much information as you can. And if you get to a certain point and you want to take it to the next level, and there's some information out there that you might have to pay for to take it to the next level, then, take that, risk against yourself, bet on yourself, invest in yourself, and get that information and apply it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I'm a part, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I'm a part of the Hustle and Crypto community. So you also have, when you join the community, you have like a crypto 101. You have courses there that people can take, which are actually pretty dope. If you just want to get a basic understanding of crypto and how it works, the technology behind it, some other projects, and you're always posting new projects that are coming up. I can't even keep up half the time. Like, Matt, you already got me in like, hustle, man. Your hustle too hard for me, bro. I'm already got me in 4 projects I can't take on anymore right now.
I know. I know it.
It just keeps coming. It keeps coming, man. It's awesome.
And the same way for me, I'm like, man, I gotta keep up myself to try to give the information back to the community. So
exactly,
it's like we're all keeping up together.
Indeed, man. That's awesome. So we talked a little bit about, Matt, some of the setbacks that you've had, right? And working part-time jobs, some full-time jobs, selling cars. I know you worked in security for a while. You've done a lot of different things, right? And so with that, and with trying to get to a successful stage in your life, there's failure, right? You talked about some of the pitfalls, some of the things that people run up against when they're chasing success and chasing their dreams. What's your relationship like with failure? When you think about the failures that you've had, what's your relationship with failure?
So yeah, that's a great question, and I think me and failure have gotten really close over the
years. Right.
It's something that I've when you hear that word, it has like a negative connotation behind it,
for sure.
But it's something that I've learned to kind of accept, because it's inevitable. Everything isn't going to be smooth and easy for you. There's definitely going to be some failures. So it's something that is always uncomfortable, but it's I've gotten a little bit more, I would say, comfortable with understanding that everything isn't going to work out how I thought it was.
Yeah.
And so now, having that mindset, I can kind of flip that failure and turn it into like a lesson.
Got it.
Right. So now I understand, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that this way.
Yes.
The next time.
Yes.
Or maybe it'll give you insight, to say, oh, I could improve this and it'll be better. And maybe that without that failure, maybe you don't have that success because you never saw that, that opportunity to make a difference. So it's something that, even through this conversation and through this interview, and I've kind of shared with a few different things that didn't work out for me. But I was always able to kind of keep moving, try again, it might hurt for a little bit. I might lick my wounds and sulk for a second, but at some point, you can't feel sorry for yourself. You just got to keep it going.
That's right.
So just really understanding that that there are going to be failures in with whatever you're doing, but it's really about how you react and how you answer to those and how you improve.
Yeah.
So
no doubt, man. Couldn't agree more. Right. Like, and something you said that was really great was that failure is inevitable, right? It's going to happen. It is going to happen. And I know Will Smith did a video that one of my buddies shared with me last week. I'd seen it before, but he ran it back to me again last week. And Will Smith's talking about you should be seeking out failure and run to it, because the closer you are to failure means that's the closer you are to having the success that you seek, right? And, I agree. I don't know about running towards failure. I was like, Will, I don't know about running to failure, but when I do come across it, I'm like, okay, I know. I saw you coming over there, failure. You were waiting on me, weren't you? Yeah. But I totally get that, and it makes a lot of sense, right? So just accepting those failures, man, and knowing that you're not a failure, that you only failed at that one thing, that doesn't make you a failure per se, right? And not letting that kind of a mindset sink in, I think is powerful. Awesome, man. So, Matt, when it's all said and done, when you think about everything that you've already accomplished and everything that you're setting out to accomplish in life, what is the lasting and ultimate mark that you want to leave on the world? What do you want people to say about Matt Rucker on that tombstone?
I think really it's an inspiration. I just want to be an inspiration to somebody. Maybe it's something small, but maybe I inspire somebody to do something, and that one thing that person did, changed the world, or just made something innovative, something that was new. So you never really know who you might impact, or maybe the information that I shared may have gotten somebody through a challenging time, and after they got through that challenging time, now they were able to flourish and do something innovative. So that, I think that would be, the mark that I would want to leave, is just being inspiration and a motivation to others. Just from me being myself, doing what I'm doing. I think that's kind of cool. It's like, not trying to do anything, over the top or anything, trying to overextend myself, just kind of being who I am and, inspiring somebody and somebody kind of looking up to you, that's cool. That's pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
So if I could do that and leave that mark, and somebody come out with the next Apple product or something.
Right.
They say Hustle Man Matt inspired me.
You'll be happy with that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Take that plug.
Be pretty cool.
You'll be happy with that plug, right? I know that's right, man. Hustle Man Matt, my YouTube guy. That's my dude right there. That's my dude, right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, hey, it's been a great interview, man. Love talking to you, and thank you for all the wonderful, inspiring words that you shared, man. And you certainly leaving a mark. You left a mark on me, and I know you're going to leave a mark with everybody that you meet, because you're always about helping other people get to the next level, man. So all the success that you've enjoyed, you absolutely deserve it, and I really appreciate you being on the Everything Matters podcast. I want to give you one opportunity. Any final thoughts that you love to leave with the audience before we bring this thing to a close?
Not much, man. Just be on the lookout. Join the community. I have hustleandcrypto.com. You can go there to get, like I said, free information on different DeFi projects and things that are going on into the crypto space. You can also join our community, which is community.hustleandcrypto.com. Request to join, create a profile, and just be on the lookout. We alluded to it. I have a project that I'm working on that's in development now. It's called the Bandit Project. So I'm excited about that and being able to kind of share that with my community first, right? There's a lot of different projects where, I might get in and I might find the information, but, we weren't privileged to it first, right? So I wanted to give that opportunity back to, the people who are following me, the people who are supporting me, so we can all kind of flourish together. So that's about it, man.
Awesome.
Keep looking out for that. Otherwise, the hustle continues.
Absolutely, man. The hustle does continue. It never stops, right? So we'll post a link down in the description of the video, everyone, so you'll be able to go and join the Hustle and Crypto community if you want to, or just go and browse for information and check out the news feed and just get some updates on what's happening in the crypto world. It is a world, I can tell you that. It is a whole world of itself. There is no question about it. Right? So, hey, it's been great, Matt, man. Thanks again for coming on the show, bro. Such a pleasure to have you. And you got to come back when you get the Bandit project up off the ground, man. Come back and come tell us all about that NFT, because I still got a lot of questions about NFT, man. It doesn't make any sense why somebody would pay $1 million for a picture. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. So, I don't know if it's supposed to, but
exactly.
It's fun and people like it. So yeah, I definitely would love to come back and, man, we can talk about it for sure.
That's awesome, brother. Well, take care of yourself, man. All the best to you, and well wishes, and we'll see you soon. This is Doris Brown's baby boy. We out.